Hello everyone, my name is Kristen Obert. I am the new Assistant Director for Fitness and Wellness at Recreational Sports here at the University of Illinois Springfield. In this edition of Staying on Track, we're going to be discussing tips for staying safe while taking your fitness outdoors with the temperatures increasing and staying a little warmer this summer. Even though summer's about halfway over, everyone's coming back to campus and the temperatures are looking like they're going to start increasing again. When taking our workout outdoors, there are many health risks associated with working out in extreme temperatures. 3 of those health risks are heat cramps, which are severe pain in your large muscle areas that are a result of sodium and water loss. So from dehydration, sweating too much, or not taking in enough water, you will often have the result of heat cramps. Something that's a little more severe is heat exhaustion, which manifests itself in extreme fatigue, nausea, vomiting, also a racing heart rate and an severely increased respiration. Of course, your heart rate's and your breathing is going to be up a little if you're exercising, but because of the increased temperature, it can go up even a little more. And one thing that's even more severe would be heat stroke, which is something that requires immediate medical attention. Those that are suffering from heat stroke will often have a cessation of sweating, so their sweating stops completely. The problem with this is most people are so sweaty by the time it happens they don't realize they've stopped sweating. Other things that can come from that is unconsciousness, which is obviously a reason why you would need to get them medical attention right away. I don't want to scare anyone from thinking they can't take their workout outdoors with this beautiful weather, but here are some tips from us here at Track on how to keep yourself safe while enjoying your outdoor activities. Number 1 is staying well hydrated. You want to make sure that you intake plenty of water before, during, and after your physical activity. It's important to try and intake between 1 to 2 cups of water about 15 to 30 minutes before you exercise, just to make sure your body is properly hydrated before you begin. While you are performing your exercise, it would be great if you could take in water every 15 minutes or so, but it's understandable if that might not be an option. If that's the case, you want to make sure that you take in plenty of water after you finish your activity. A good rule of thumb to remember is even if you're not thirsty, your body is probably dehydrated and you need to intake plenty of water. Tip number 2 is to make sure you wear sunscreen. Like any other physical activity that you do outdoors, you want to make sure you protect your skin. You're only given one body, so we want to do the best we can to protect it. One of the things to remember is to make sure you have a high enough SPF sunscreen to make sure that you're protecting from all the bad UV and UVB rays. Another thing to consider is to make sure that you get a nice sweat-proof sunscreen. They sell them, most brands have them nowadays, and make sure you get those because you're probably going to be sweating, and if you don't get the sweat proof, you're not really doing yourself much good. Another tip to consider is to try to exercise during the cooler times of day. So if you can get your exercise in the morning before the sun is directly overhead, or in the evening once it's starting to go down, you'll avoid those peak temperature times. A good rule of thumb to remember is to not participate in your physical activities between 10 a.m. and 3 p.m. because those are your peak temperature times. Another thing to take into consideration is if the day looks like it's not going to drop below 82 degrees Fahrenheit, you might be better off exercising indoors, because once the temperature breaks that point is when the health risks seem to go up in individuals that are participating. Another tip is to try and wear loose fit and light colored clothing. The reasons for this is if you wear loose fit clothing, it feels less constricted, and if you were to maybe pass out, you're already in that loose fit clothing. It's easier for people that are helping to take care of you. Not that we want to scare you or anything. With the light colored clothing, it's because we know the sun will be more reflected with light colors than if you were to wear dark colors, obviously lowering the temperature of the outside of your body. Lastly, and most importantly, the number 1 thing to remember is to listen to your body. If you are not feeling right, it means something is probably wrong, which means you should stop your physical activity and get yourself to a cooler place, whether it's under the shade or indoors. If you feel like you can continue your exercise once you're indoors, that's fine, but just keep monitoring yourself. Just remember that it's better to have an easier day and take it easier so that you have the opportunity to live and work out another day. Thank you for joining us for this edition of Staying on Track, and we hope that you'll come and see us if you don't want to take your physical activity outdoors. But otherwise, get out and enjoy the beautiful weather while we have it, because before you know, it'll be winter and that indoor activity will be a lot more appealing.